Hey guys, it's me, Shane. I'm here to give you another Digimon Adventure 2020 reboot episode recap and review. Sorry about that. This one's coming kind of late, but yeah, I apologize for that. Time got jumbled up. But anyhow, today's episode is episode 37, and it's called Mimi-chan Wars. As you can see, that's Mimi. Let's just go ahead and get right into it. If you remember last episode, Koshiro saved the day. He ended up being able to snipe down the falling ISS International Space Station that was going to crumble and destroy all of Tokyo, but him and Mega Cuppeteer were able to save the day. We also got a glimpse of Blitz Greymon and alternate evolution for Agumon instead of War Greymon. And this time, apparently, and in the intro, they even said, meanwhile, Mimi was kind of having a good time, but she was also doing battle that had something to do with gemstones. And there's Gatsumon, there's Golemon. I remember I mentioned earlier that going in between seeing what was going on with her, I was really interested in seeing how this all would turn out for her. Let's just go ahead and get right into it. So, uh, everybody's camping out. They're taking a break after, finally wrapping up that very, very, very loose thread that was going on for several episodes of the ISS falling. And so, everyone's going to do their part looking for food. Sora very motherlingly, tells Takaru and Hikari, you guys be careful when you go out. And of course, Tailmon is super overprotective, saying, I'll protect her with my life. I got this. But you know what else? I forgot to mention. You guys can get it from me. Please hit that subscription. Hit that subscribe button. Yeah, thank you. But let's get right back into this. Even Taichi has that. When I say anime sweat, it reminds me. Usually there's a giant sweat drop, but what they do in Digimon Adventure, at least 2021, I don't remember. I know the older one, the original one, they had a giant one, but what they do in this one is kind of like the original. It's like DBZ when you ever see Piccolo have the sweat drop when someone says something outrageous. He just kind of like, eh. We're gonna see a lot of that in this episode, and Taichi has that sweat drop, especially with the way Tailmon is acting. And Taichi goes to Patamon and says, "You too, Patamon. Watch over Takaru." He's like, "Oh yeah, I plan on playing with Takaru a lot." And we get a very cute interaction with Tailmon's like, "That's not what you meant." And he's like, "Oh, you can play. You gonna play with us too, Tailmon?" Patamon is equal parts informative and equal parts cute. I have not found him annoying at all. And this will be a recurring theme throughout this episode. My feelings on annoying characters. I'm getting ahead of myself. So, Agumon and Taichi, they're trying to get some coconuts out of a tree. They both end up shaking it. They end up shaking this tree over into a river. Sora instinctively just dives in, is trying to help them. And Piomon, she's trying to fly behind them. They end up going downstream. So now they are at the exact same area with all these large colored gemstones that we first saw Mimi drop into once they were all separated with Angemon's ability. And as soon as they all, look at a stone and pick it up, they're ambushed by tons of Gatsumon and a giant net is thrown over them. Just for a refresher, this is Gatsumon, rookie level Digimon, very cute. I believe there's a fan favorites behind it. Honestly, if you were playing any of the games or anything, that's actually a very solid beginning Digimon. Who they've started to flesh out, giving more lines of evolution, especially with the new Pendulum Z's. And you're gonna see quite a few Pendulum Z Digimon in here. So Sora is getting a bit of deja vu. She's like, I feel like we've been through this before. And then here comes Mimi riding on top of Golemon. Of course, I'm gonna give you. We've already seen Golemon. We've seen this was the Digimon that was fighting with Togemon, and we saw a couple of wild ones that end up getting eaten and destroyed. That tried to actually kill them the first time they got to the Eternal Continent. So, uh, Mimi's being carried. She said, "Oh, it's good you guys are here. Definitely need the manpower." And of course, everyone's like, "What are you talking about?" So there's a castle that this Digimon that's ruling this area. And apparently, originally the Gatsumon were the ones who lived in this area, and they would mine these rocks. Well, now this Digimon has all of them mining rocks underneath. Excuse me. And they are being held, they're being forced basically into servitude with the assistance. This large Digimon commands these Goblimon, and we don't get the full name until later on. But I know these Digimon. This is also an older Digimon, so Goblimon are helping this thing put these guys in servitude. Apparently, Golemon and the several Gatsumon that are with Mimi, they had escaped, and they thought that when Mimi and Palmon showed up, that they were actually spies from the castle, which caused that rumble. So apparently, everything that's being mined from the underground goes up to this boss, and I knew the silhouette. I'll show you the picture later when we get to it. And as they were getting ready to, they're talking about what were they mining, and Mimi shows them the rubies and the sapphires. She gives them such long-winded, dumb names that Tai and Sora, they both have the sweat drops. They're just like, okay, yeah, okay, that's a ruby, that's a sapphire. Aside from your long names, these things are pretty cool, but you know, sapphire, emeralds, and rubies, what's going on with them? And Golemon, he actually speaks. Golemon has a voice, even though he's kind of like the other Digimon we've seen speak, aside from Leomon and Minotaurmon. He speaks in kind of choppy language. I guess that's to show, he's a golem. He's based on a golem, an inanimate object, so he's gonna speak kind of robotic and a little bit less. I don't want to say proper, but less intelligently. And when one of the funny things is Mimi said they end up understanding each other because Togemon and Golemon were fighting for days. Like they're both very large champion level Digimon, and they were just slugging it out. The cut in pictures for that were really good, and it turned out it was a draw. But through the excitement and crazy storm of emotions, they came to an understanding through fighting, which is this is a thing that happens, especially in anime a lot. This is why I was interested in seeing what happened because we saw Togemon and Golemon fight as they were all communicating, and then after that, we saw all of them celebrating Mimi and Palmon, and this is why we know. And apparently, Palmon says this is basically a second Mimi's kingdom. Yay. Yay, 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 yay. And she talks, now we have enough manpower for her tournament. She's upset with the bat. Sora's like, oh man, you don't want to see any Digimon mistreated. She's upset about the guy hogging all the gemstones. And it was like, what? So when remember, her grandfather is the chairman of a heavy metal industry / electric company. So we do get flashback scenes of her, in the outfit with her grandfather, and he says, a workplace is about everybody working hard and sharing the rewards, treating everybody equally and giving them a piece of the pie. Which I'm just gonna get ahead of myself. Mimi goes in between this. It seems like she's a noble thing, but then she kind of goes in between like, oh, these are mine, but it's I don't know how to express it. But she hates tyranny and she hates when people make other people overwork. So she says Golemon calls himself number 99, and Tai and Sora like, huh? Servant 99, and Mimi says, well, remember, you guys are servant 72 and 73. But she says, not servants anymore, you're now employees. Somewhere down the line, she moved from princess to president Mimi. I'm not kidding, that is exactly what they call her. So they come up with a plan, and we get a flash of everybody on top of Kondomamon, and they're speaking to, excuse me, Tai speaking to them. You see his crest through the Digivice, and they don't know where they are exactly. They just know they got to follow the river somewhere, and it's really interesting because you get Koshiro saying, "Man, be really nice if this had a map and had a tracking device on it." So I'm pretty sure between now and when the next episode, or maybe the episode after that, Koshiro would have again updated their Digivices to locate one another, which would be a helpful feature whenever they get separated like this. So all they gotta do is follow River. We get a funny moment where Kondomamon is falling asleep while running, and you have Patamon and Tentomon are trying to wake him up, say, "Hey, no, 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 go back this way." Funny moment. After our little commercial break, Bergermon and Sora are attacking the forces head on. I already showed you Goblimon. Goblimon rang the alarm, but then we have this. This is Sunrizamon, which I'm pretty sure if it was localized, it'd probably be called Sun Lizardmon. You probably noticed this little guy looks just like Golemon. He is also a new Digimon from the Pendulum Z's Nature Spirits or Wind Guardians devices. Basically, the little digital pets. And that thing actually can turn into Golemon. It turns into Golemon. It turns into this guy here. I forget his name. He's basically a rock baboon, and all of them turn into this ultimate form that I will show you later. Also, Gatsumon can turn into that thing, and Golemon. We're getting we're getting a cavalcade of these Digimon that adapt and evolve in these type of rocky areas. Excuse me. So we get flashbacks of them coming up with the plan. Sora's the distraction. They're gonna dig underneath and get in there so they can free the Gatsumon, get them all out. That was the original plan. Well, we also see Golemon warning about the Sunrizamon, saying like their sandblasts are tough, but once you fly high enough, they're not going to reach you. So smart, even though he talks very very weirdly, robotically, a little bit unintelligently, but smart, right? We then get Greymon and Golemon breaking through the side of the castle. And we get Mimi and Palmon talking about such hard work. And we get another funny moment where Tachi's like, yeah, but the one that dug the tunnel was, and you get Greymon just looking like, I dug the stupid tunnel. So Gobblemon shows up and Mimi gives the speech. I didn't even bother writing down what she said. Then she tells Tai to take care of him. Easily, easily, easily. We have Greymon easily just take him out. She's asking, where is the supply? Where are the gems? Gabumon speaks in that digital language, and Golemon translates says, "Oh, he says at the very top." So Mimi says, "All right, cool. Taichi, you take care of things here and get everybody out." And he's like, "Well, that's not part of the plan. What's going on?" She says, "Plan B." It's not what Plan B means, but okay. Then we get Greymon is Taichi and Greymon are surrounded by these Sunrizamon, and Taichi's like, "Man, I'm really getting worried." And Greymon straight up says, "Yo, I can take care of things here. Go help her." And that's what they do. They split up, which is I like this. Excuse me. I like that as their bond has grown, Taichi can separate from Greymon, knowing that Greymon can take care of these things, which he does initially. He destroys, kills, if you will, three of these things with the not a Nova Blast in here, it's Mega Flame, easily. So Taichi catches up, and they get to there's a Gabumon guard. The Gabumon guard is easily punched into nothing by Togemon. Palmon Digivolves into Togemon, just goes in, punches this poor, unexpected, dumb Digimon. And as they go in, they're in this room full of gems. And it's, topazes and amethyst. Mimi says, like, all I need is a diamond. And she actually mentioned a diamond earlier. Well, a diamond hits Taichi in the head. And I'm like, okay, now we're getting there. Mimi's like going gaga over the diamond. She names it after, I think she calls it Tachikawa Diamond. That's her last name, Tachikawa. And they hear the same sound they heard before from the outside of the castle. So, Golemon, Togemon, Taichi, and Mimi, they slowly creep around and they see this massive Digimon that's talking about steadily hungry. His stomach is still growling. And it's this guy here. It is Gogamon. And at this point, Taichi's like, wow. And Mimi just completely blows it. She just blows the cover and announces that they're there. He has diamonds all loose. You see, those rocks are more like diamonds that are all around him. And Gogamon, when Mimi says, you're hoarding everything, Gogamon says everything here is, for him as his snack. And he looks at Golemon. and goes, "Oh, you'd be a tastier snack than the Gatsumon." And at this point, Taichi and Mimi realize you've been eating them as well. And we not only do we see the Digimon drool, we do see that same data pixel that the Digimon have whenever they are destroyed or eaten. Golemon and Togemon are furious. They both come in with dual punches, side by side. This Digimon, Golemon, again, I said he speaks. This Digimon speaks. He speaks better than Golemon actually, even though he's just constantly hungry. And his attack is called Giant Crater. Just one swift punch knocks both of them down. Uh, Golemon is busted into several pieces. Just he's still able to talk and everything, but he's busted into several pieces. And he tells Mimi to run. As Gogumon is basically going to try to eat him, but Tai is getting ready to stand in the way, but Mimi steps up. And as Gogumon says, everything in this castle is mine. She interrupts him and says, "Is mine." Not just he's gonna say everything in the Digimon are his. No, she says they are my employees, and this is when we get Togemon digivolving into Lilymon. Her Digivice glows with her crest, which I'm unsure if her crest is still sincerity. Like her feelings might be sincere, but it could be something more. It could be royalty, and I'll get back and more into that later. So he tries to use his giant craters missing. Flower cannon hits him, but it doesn't really damage him all that much. He eats rocks, spits out more diamonds, and does this move called Curse Reflection, where those crystals all around him glow and he fires dark rays. And then he does it again. All the while, Tai is paying attention to this. And he asked Mimi, he said, "Mimi, you saw that, right?" And she goes, "Mm hmm." Once one of the diamonds falls, she grabs it and throws it to what's her name? Throws it to Lilymon. Lilymon says, "Are you sure this is the precious thing you want?" She says, "I have other precious things," which is kind of weird because why would she care about diamonds? It's really weird because it did seem like Mimi was all gung ho about the gemstones, and even before they fought, Mimi was all about the gemstones back when her and Palmon first got there. But it does look like she has some level of maturity of knowing this stuff doesn't matter. Protecting everyone else is what's important. And as Lilymon does her fleur cannon, the petals warp around it, and she fires this shimmering, glittering shot. And it's the diamond, and it cracks. It cracks him right in the chest. And Mimi says, "Pay attention to you. You can't eat diamonds. That's why you always spit them out." And Lily, I'm reminded of this joke. I'm reminded of this. It's not really a joke. It's a funny thing. And Kamen Rider Kabuto, he always says, grandmother says this. So she says, grandfather used to say, uh, employees are basically family. They're not just people. They're not just servants. They're actually family. Uh, Now we get something interesting because there's no name for this move. Lilymon's hand, the flower warps around it, like wraps around it, and it starts to spin. And as it's spinning, she's basically coming forward at Gogumon with a glowing, spinning drill hand, and just straight out of a Gurren Lagann. And as the two of them clash, we get more of the gemstones in that area because if you remember the fight with Andromon, Lilymon's abilities, her flower cannon is actually strong enough to just change the entire area into flowers and vegetation. I don't think this is the Fleur Cannon. I don't know what this move is, but it's really cool because in the end, Greymon comes in with Sora, Piomon, and the Gatsumon, and they are there in enough time to see that you know this guy's about to get beat, and we get a funny moment where both Lilymon and Mimi says to him, "You're fired," and he's sent flying. I don't even know if the guy's dead. I don't know if he's like dissipated in the pixels or if he kind of got the same treatment as Andromon when he just turned into like a giant flower statue, which I still don't think Andromon's dead. I still think he's out there. He's probably going to show up again. Maybe when they all have to fight Millenniumon, I still think he's out there. But now the rest of the troops, the rest of the Sunrizamon and the Goblimon, they retreat. They run out. They don't stay around. Apparently, they were loyal servants of Gogamon. Gatsumon have taken everything back. Golemon is there. Now Golemon is fully patched up. Actually, he has a little flower wreath around his arm. So I'm wondering if that kind of healed him and allowed him to stay, stitched up together. Uh, he's saying he's acting president now, and he thanks 72 and 73. They tell him, take care and be careful. And we get a cute moment with Agumon and the Gatsumon where he's like, "You Gatsumon too. You guys take care." And they do their little. It's cute. Before Mimi leaves, she says, "There's another word for company, for people in the company, and it's not just workers; it's friends." Well, she says Nakama, which is friends, and they all cheer her. Kodomamon and others have caught up by now, and they're all going off into the sunset. And this is where our episode ends. Encyclopedia today, like I said last week, was Leomon, and Coach Ro goes in saying how he's like built and cut, and his arms are thick like logs. He said if there was a Leomon gym, he would join it. Next week's gonna be Eldoradimon, and next episode, Yamato and Joe have to save Gabumon from being sacrificed in a ritual. I'm pretty sure I saw Gabumon on a cross. That is gonna be edited if this comes over to the West for sure. They don't want, that's just kind of how it goes. They don't like showing Christianity things, even though they're okay with other religions being parodied. But I digress. This is a dub. This is not a sub, so we're definitely going to see that. Yeah, guys, that was this week's episode. So I mentioned about annoying characters. I still found Mimi annoying through this, but I find this Mimi, the reboot Mimi, 2020 Mimi, to be far less self-absorbed and whiny than the original Mimi from Digimon Adventure Season 1. We won't speak about Mimi from Season 2 because she was Americanized, she's poppy, she had pink hair. The whole princess thing with that Mimi was just because her parents were rich. And even in the English dub, they kind of made all of them seem like airheads, which is not the case. While her parents still exactly look the same from the original, we understand why she has this kind of royalty air about her because her grandfather's the chairman of an electric and heavy metal industry company. It makes sense. She's gone to work with him. She sees how you treat employees and how you treat people that work with you and work for you. I can understand that now. That actually adds weight to her being, the characters like, this is my kingdom, these are my servants, these are my employees, I'm the president, blah, 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 blah. While I find it exasperating, as does Tai and Sora, who just kind of go along with it just to get things moving and try to, you know, they're at least down to help her goals, and it's less of like in the original, and especially in the dub, oh Mimi, why are you doing this? This is so dumb. Snap out of it. It's less of that and more of she's actually helping them. Whether her layered reasons are I want these gems or you shouldn't treat employees like that. This character has much more depth than she did in the original. Even Lilymon, I've always out of that Palmon line, I've always liked Togemon the most because I'm a Final Fantasy fan. She looks like a Cactar. I like Cactars. And actually, over the years, I've come to respect just the Digimon as whole, as Palmon as a Digimon. Period. Not just this Palmon in particular. All of them. Uh, Lilymon is much stronger in this show. When she fought Andromon, her Flower Cannon and her other ability that escapes me at the moment, it was able to shut him. Stop him, shut him down, and cover that entire heavy metal fallen factory area in plants. Same thing here. She was able to adapt her attack into being a physical punch. Lilymon is not just this secondary, not even secondary, this third string Digimon like in the original that just happens. She can beat the weak ones, but she can't beat the strong ones by herself. She can beat the strong ones by herself. Even this new Pendulum Z introduced Digimon, she can do the job, and I appreciate it. That's why I'm gonna give this a 4.5 out of 5. I said several weeks ago I was interested in what was going on with Mimi. This did not disappoint whatsoever. Brilliant episode. I hope we get more of them like this. I hope this satiates those who feel like the series is all about Tai. Well, he is the guy that fell through the warp in the opening. He is the first character we see in episode 1. I'm not going to argue. I'm not even going to debate. Instead of arguing or complaining that, oh man, we saw Blitz Greymon, that doesn't matter. Kosher was the one to save the day. And, Blitz Greymon wasn't even on my mind when I watched the episode. In here, the only thing that stood out to me with Tai and Greymon is that Greymon can fight without Tai because of their bond, and Tai cares enough about his friends, even if he doesn't understand her goals, he's gonna make sure she's okay, and she can stand up for herself and fight for herself. That is amazing. Her and her partner won the day. Do not forget that. And I expect Joe and Gobelmon to win the day next week. So yeah, 4.5 out of 5. Amazing episode, character development, story driven, more like this. So, guys, please tell me what you thought of the episode. Please leave me a comment down below. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate you guys telling me whether I got something wrong or right. I want to hear your thoughts on it. I'm very serious about that. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the notification button to get notified of this. I do this every Sunday. Come on, where you been? And I promise that I'm going to try to do more Digimon content because I can tell that some of you guys that watch this, you like your Digimons, right? If there's something that you would like me to do that's Digimon related, please let me know, and I will do it to the best of my abilities. Also, share the video. Show these people what a good time you're having. These recaps and me going a little bit more in depth and explaining just how different and why I believe this show is way better than the original. So as always, guys, be good, be blessed. Thank you for showing up. Wear a mask. Black Lives Matter. Happy Black History Month. Be good to yourself as well as others. Don't be a jerk. And I will definitely see you next time.